Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Tonight we are starting off the stream with Bitcoin, trying to find support. We're going to talk about the stock market and discuss what we're expecting for the remainder of the week. We'll talk about global news, and then we're going to check out more interesting Reddit posts brought to you by opinions nobody asked for. As always, we'll have some compelling questions for the chat. So grab a drink and let's get into it.
JJ's got the keys to the blockchain breeze. He's live every day, decode amazing. JJ's cryptic corner where the coins keep turning. Log in now, the future's burning. JJ's cryptic corner. JJ's cryptic corner. Pixels glow, charts flow. Crypto whispers, secrets show. He cracks the code on this winding road. JJ's cryptic corner. JJ's cryptic corner. JJ's cryptic corner. JJ's cryptic corner. JJ's cryptic. Tune in, lean back, grab your coffee, hit the track. JJ's live, don't be late. Cryptic wisdom, seal your fate. JJ's cryptic.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. How's everyone doing today? Sign up in the chat. Smash the like button on your way in. I got one thing. All right. We got a poll for your attention in the chat. It's a zombie apocalypse. How are you generating electricity? Wind power, solar power, hydropower, or human pedal power? Let me know what you guys think. Hey, what's going on, guys? Little funky, little rocky start. I was super stoked. I got off work at 5. I got home. I got everything prepped for the stream to get started at not midnight, and I was like, all right, let's go. No joke. I was right there. I was on the tipping point of like pressing go to start the stream, and I'm typing the last like multiple choice to my poll question in my reference sheet on the side here, and the power goes out. Just for like the smallest little off and on. It went, and I was like, everything shut off. And I was holding my breath, thinking it was gonna come back on and be okay, and it just like the computer just started back up like normal. I was like, dang it. So I had to open everything back up. I will say, the computer like remembering everything that I was doing, very nice. Did not have that back in the day, so there's definitely privilege with the future. What's going on? We've got Giovanni Fontes, Philly, Tom Selleck's Goat, 88, Adam Thomas, the gang's all here. I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to smash the like button. Let's get into it, man. Bitcoin 63,782 and 41 cents. We also got a debt-free Reddit post. Somebody paid off over 26K in student loans this year. That's pretty exciting stuff. We'll read about that in a moment. For now, though, we'll separate it, get it where it goes, and let's get the Bitcoin. Bitcoin at 63,782. Let's go refresh our liquidation heat map and see where we're at. Should get a UPS system. Yeah. I thought I had one. I think the battery was just dead. I don't remember if I sold it or if I just tossed it. It was very old though. 63,917. That's weird. That was really weird. 63,917. Did everyone see that? What is going on? Am I freaking out? Why are the lines jumping around? I'm experiencing schizophrenia for the first time. 63,171. You guys are. That'd be really funny if I wasn't live streaming at all. That's not funny, actually. I'm like, wouldn't that be funny if I was like talking to a box? All right. So far, solar power is winning. We got 3 votes. My question for the solar power people is, how sustainable is that? I don't know how long solar panels last, but I do know that over time, I believe that they require replacing. So that is a question you have to consider, I think. I'm also not like a solar powered engineer, so don't quote me on that. Bitcoin's doing its thing. We've got a potential, an idea, a concept of a bottom. I do like that we're possibly retesting our breakout of this upper trend line. JJ, I'm not real. That's exactly what somebody who's real would say. RSI. See, we were dancing around and then we broke below, and now we're kind of like allergic to that moving average, which is interesting. Let's go to the daily. Probably lasts you forever. Solar, no. Well, you got to worry about batteries, and you got to worry about maintenance. I don't know, actually. Let's ask Grok. Let's ask Grok. Do solar panels last forever? How long is the typical solar panel lifespan? Like, if I had a whole town of 50 people, 100 people, call it 100 people, 150 people, utilizing solar power, how frequently would that require maintenance / replacing? What would need to be replaced the most often? Let's see what Grok says, because I feel like this is a decent question. I've always enjoyed the idea of hydropower, but there's a lot of moving parts with hydropower. So it's nice on an individual basis if you know what you're doing, but for like a whole town, it might not be so reasonable, because you're not going to run a whole hydroelectric dam for, zombie apocalypse. That seems kind of silly. Solar panels need maintenance. They need the dirt, dust, and poop swept off. That is true. That is very true. I recently discovered the way that they like film in like rain and snow is there's a lens on the outside of the camera that just spins, and you don't see it because it's glass. But anything that could potentially get on there just immediately gets whipped off of it, which I thought was pretty cool. That'd be sweet if they could implement that via solar. You gotta find water, right? Yes. Yeah, that is, I guess that's the biggest downfall with the hydropower, is you have to find a moving body of water. And even then, you probably have to stay there for a full season cycle to make sure that it is not just a seasonal body of water. Because some bodies of water aren't around year round. And you would still need batteries and whatnot, so. I think all options require batteries, and I guess the only difference is with solar, you don't need like an alternator. With wind and hydro, you need an alternator. Ray said, sup JJ, definitely wind. If not that, then human power, but wind is passive. True. But I mean, if you got nothing else going on, I don't know, you need exercise as well, especially zombie apocalypse. You could tend to your garden, hop on the bike. I don't know how efficient the bike is. Let's ask Grok that next too. Like, hypothetically, if you set up a relatively efficient bicycle generation situation, how long would you have to ride the bicycle to generate enough electricity for the day? You know what I mean? Like, you could have 2 days of batteries, and then the third day you generate every single day. And then that way, if for whatever crazy reason you miss a day or two, you're still okay. You could take some time off. All right, let's see. Bitcoin's chilling. Daily doesn't look that bad. It does look like we're retesting, which is awesome. I thought you said 150 village to power. That's just the hypothetical that we're asking Grok for solar to see if it's, because we know that all of them are probably going to be viable for an individual. So we're stretching the situation for the 150 for the questions for Grok, because, and then maybe at the end with the poll we can ask Grok what they think for the best answer to the question. Billy said, JJ, what is with you in the zombie apocalypse? I'm actually, I'm not supposed to say anything. I'm going to say it anyways. I'm with the CIA and the FBI and Anonymous. And the zombie apocalypse is coming. That whole interview with the news guy saying that it's going to be climate change, that was all a lie. That was all a plant. It's going to be the zombie apocalypse. And it's not going to be fake. It's going to be real. So I'm put here on YouTube to start to plant the seeds. The popularity is slowly building. Eventually I'll have millions of viewers, and everybody will be answering the zombie apocalypse questions all the time. It's going to be regular, everyday thing in everyone's head. And then when it happens, no one's going to be shocked and freak out, and mankind will continue to live on, thanks to my efforts and the efforts of so many others, whom I will not name, for job security and safety of them and their families. That's what's with me in the zombie apocalypse. 88 said, basically, what's the cheapest, lowest maintenance, most efficient, least time consuming way to charge a battery? Well, no, the cost doesn't matter, unless you're talking like opportunity cost. The CIA normally give their undercover agents crap computers with no battery backup. Well, I have to make it look like I'm a regular Joe Schmo like you guys. You know, a little middle of nowhere Michigan hick isn't going to have like a top shelf Alienware PC. Good, at least you're not most. All right. Let's see. Yeah, Bitcoin looks good. 63,845. Do we think we've bottomed? Hopefully, that'd be cool. We got a nice wick indicative of some buying pressure, but we'll see what happens. Bitcoin dominance potentially bouncing off of 59. I actually did not know that we dropped this hard. Kind of okay with that, though. Let's see, is that it? Are we going to break below 59? It does kind of look like we got a little double top here. And then what would be cool is if we did that. And then I think we can enter a little alt season fun once we lose 57.68. Ray said, Hydro might be better. Isn't that how we started with energy, the wheel and shit? Oh, that's true. Yeah. I didn't even think of that. With the big water wheel. Billy said, okay, I'll play along when the zombie apocalypse starts. Fauci will be patient 0. Voluntarily as well. Ray said, not that hard to find flowing water. And you need water. You do need water. So you kind of 2 birds, 1 stone. 2 zombies, 1 bullet. Tom Salkscoat said, at least he's not the FBI because he'd have to shoot a bird. I don't get it. 88 said, the hydro kills 2 stones. Power and fishing for food, eh? Need water anyway, eh? A fancy water wheel and gears. Eh? Okay. ETH. I don't know if you need gears. I've looked into hydropower, oddly enough, and it's relatively simple. You could do it with an old washing machine and just a water wheel. Gears not that important. As long as you got the pole and the water wheel and the old washing machine, you generate electricity. And then you just need a regulator. ETH 1886. We're hoping that this fractal turns to be false. So we're going to see if we do end up dropping. We need 1812 to hold, but right now we're trying to play around with 1900. Getting above that would be a big deal. Let's see what happens. We've got, I'm going to call it a inverse BART letting into a regular BART. Where are we going to go from here? Volume, man, weekend volume was kind of crazy, wasn't it? Sol is up 0.37. Nice bounce off of 75. Let's go. Looking good, actually. So can Sol get back above 80 next is the question. RSI looks good, like it's about to cross. Total freeze up 0.15, currently trading at 660.29 billion. We are slowly but surely chopping out of this misery. Can we break above the upper trend line around like 665? We'll call it 6. Well, let's get above 670, and then I can be excited. For now, we just got choppy sideways. ADA's up or down, I'm sorry, 0.11, currently trading at 1869. Can ADA ever find support anywhere ever, or is it doomed to continuously fail and disappoint our forefathers and your ancestors? That's a great question. SNEC is up 0.37, currently trading at 32.54. Can SNEC bounce, or is SNEC going down to retest 3? Midnight's up 1.19, still somehow magically lower in price, even though it says that it's up. XRP is up 0.09, bounced beautifully off of $1, that $1 level. Very, very brief and lovely wick, indicative of some buying pressure. Tom Selleck Scout said the FBI always shoots your dog when they come in your house. You don't have a dog. I did. He did not. He was not shot, though. Adam Thomas said 6-7. Ray said, we are in a crypto apocalypse right now, and I'm saying zombies, and I'm slaying zombies. Been buying Chainlink all along. Check Link, JJ. Link's great, actually. We'll get to it. It'll be the cherry on top at the end of the long list. Sweet. Up 0.72. Looking good. Potential bounce. Pump. Beautiful performance. 27.55. Can Pump get above 3? 0.3%. Ondo's up 0.63. Ondo, very disappointing, actually. Looks like it double rejected 36 and dropping. Is Ondo going to lose 30 next? Arrow's up 0.48, currently trading at 41.81. Can Arrow hold 40 and maybe eventually see some upside? Avalanche down 0.44. Avalanche underwhelming and kind of looks like doo-doo. Doge up 0.6. Ooh, Doge, a little baby recovery right here. Can we see some exciting action out of Doge? 72.33. Let's see if we can get above 8 for Doge long term. Obviously, it's way up there. Chainlink blasting. I was going to say ass blasting, but it seemed inappropriate. Chainlink blasting. Can we get above 9 next for Chainlink? This is like one of the few charts. Everything else, notice everything else is kind of like doing this. Then it's like, woohoo, a little bit. Chainlink actually like bottomed out and is climbing out now instead of just like slowly grinding its way back up. This thing started grinding a lot earlier in July, it seems. So we are overbought on the 4-hour time frame though, so exercise caution. Credit spreads. Further downside, very nice. Gold up 0.55 and pumping. Gold looks great. 43.94. Can gold get above 4,500 next? Silver's up 0.49. 64.98. Can gold or can silver get above 65 and stay above 65? DXY, ooh, continuing to show weakness under 100. Billy said, I wasn't listening. Did you say XRP dipped below $1? It did. Very briefly dip below $1. Yes. Tom Salk Scout said Link always leads. It's the Slink. DXY 99.84. Good for our investments, bad for our take-home pay. But if we are reasonable human beings, reasonable adults, I would argue smart. Most of our money is going to be in investments, so our take-home pay taking a hit for the sake of our investments, probably for the best. What do you think? Do you think 90% is good enough for the phone if the power does go out? I guess I could charge it in the car, but I'm not doing that hot on gas right now. I should have got gas last night apparently. If the zombie apocalypse starts right now, I'm definitely gonna be siphoning. Ray said, thanks JJ. That's Link is my baby. Been making money on it for like 5 years. No big deal. LOL. Tom Saltscoat said, I love gold. No, seriously, I bought gold the day I said breakout. Nice. Very nice. DXY doing its thing. Dow 53 actually. 790. Can we get above 54? We did it very, very briefly. Now we're kind of taking a breather. How long is this breather going to last? I don't know, man. It's very obvious that the trend is getting spicy over time. You could literally see you got the trajectory is changing every single time. It's getting more and more violent upside. The banana zone has entered from behind. NASDAQ doing its thing. We are playing with the apex of the triangle. Lovely triangle. The first move, false move to the downside, rejection, support, break, support, continuation. Can we get to 30K before the end of the week? Or do we have to wait until next week? S&P, also same thing, but more exciting somehow. We had our lovely triangle wedge situation. Little fake out to the downside, explosive move to the upside, and we're testing 78. We got a little double top rejection right here. We might come back and retest 75.50 for support before continuation of the upside. Not financial advice. Nvidia doing its thing. Maybe some downside in the not so distant future. Not financial advice. Tesla, yeah, slowly working its way back up. MicroStrategy, aka Big B Coffee. The reason I call it Big B Coffee is because Mr. Michael Saylor was in a very borderline violent lawsuit with Big B Coffee over the logo rights for the orange bee. And Saylor actually won. And now, to taunt them, he did change the logo to look even more like the Big B. And the Big B Coffee guy is furious. That's why we call it Big B Coffee. We stand in solidarity with Michael Saylor. May your bee be whatever color you wish it to be. Big B. Saylor sold yesterday. He did, actually. Saylor continues to sell the bottom like an absolute weenie. What's the opposite of Giga Chad? What is the opposite of Giga? And then instead of Karen, I think Ken, so Nano. Instead of Giga Chad, he's a Nano Ken. Nano Ken. That's great. So, unfortunately, Saylor has erectile dysfunction, which is great news for Big B Coffee. Anyways, 96.47. This thing's been the same price pretty much since June. Let's go check out STRC. Giga. It's Nano, guys. He can't be Giga. 95.16. I do like that he's buying STRC, though. Like, he's so desperately trying to get this back to 100. Like, isn't the point of this to get to 100 and then get above so they can sell it? Like, why are they buying some back? And when they buy some, do they also collect the dividend? It sounds like Kermit the Frog. Oh, who did I see that? I saw somebody recently that sounds kind of like that. Who was it? Oh, I'm not gonna say because it's gonna get me in trouble. STRC 95.16. Strategy 96.09. Somehow higher than STRC, closer to 100 than STRC, which is kind of hilarious. Bitcoin dominance 59.06, potentially bouncing off of 59. Are we going to bounce off of this and then maybe reject 59.37? Or maybe we don't even get that high. Maybe we dance around and reject at 59.25. I don't know. Bitcoin, though, up 0.36. Let's see what happens here. Can we get back above 63? Or 64? Can we get back above 64? News segment. Before we get there, let's see what Grok said. No, solar panels do not last forever. They gradually degrade and lose efficiency over time rather than failing abruptly, but modern ones are highly durable with no moving parts. I mean, if they had moving parts, I would think something was up. Most modern crystalline silicon solar panels, like the dominant type, have a useful lifespan 25 to 30 years. Okay, sick. Often extending 30 to 40, so you really only need like 3 or 4 changes worth of solar panels for your lifetime. I feel like that's more than easy enough to find. Like, I have a solar field not far from me. I could just go to that, chop them up. Obviously, we're talking zombie apocalypse, so don't come after me. And then store a chunk and live off the rest. That'd be kind of crazy to build your shelter in the solar field. It would be insane. You imagine? We're gonna wait. Oh, are we back? I think we're back. Are we back? I think we're back, right? I think we're back. Sound up in the chat if we're back. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, let's get to it. 25 to 30 years. System components for a town of 150 people. Okay, I'm not worried about this, honestly. Cleaning one to... Okay, let's see. Roughly 50 to 60 average households. Maintenance generally low. Solar panels. How many would we need? Inverters. Okay, let's not worry about that. All right. All right. Hypothetical. Which power would be best for the zombie apocalypse? Assuming you have access to the necessary components. Hydro power, wind power, solar power, or human pedal power. Why can't I said hypothetical? Jeez. All right, let's see. We're so back. All right, let's see what Grok says about that. Until then, we'll get to the news segment. White House official Patrick Witt says they are fully committed to passing the Crypto Clarity Act next month. I don't care about any of these people anymore. They can all go to hell. Russia approves Bitcoin, Ethereum, and USDT for public trading on exchanges. Very cool. $15 trillion BlackRock says tokenization is the next generation for markets. Also very cool. Philly said during the 20-second blip, the show's ratings were at their highest. That's because everyone was like, where did he go? Morgan Stanley sees $600 bull case for Elon Musk's SpaceX. Wow. Claude AI developer Anthropic is now projected to IPO before the end of October. CFTC says it's prepared. Maybe, okay. I have the ultimate question for the chat. Actually, it's so ultimate that I'm going to end the current poll. Wow, human pedal power took it, man. That's actually kind of genius. Okay, question was, it's a zombie apocalypse. How are you generating electricity? 45% of you guys said human pedal power. 33% said solar power. 11% said wind power. And 11% said hydropower. Interesting. Okay, next question. What will Anthropic's IPO do in October? Do for Bitcoin/crypto? Definitely going to cause more dump. Upside, super cycle, in fact, 4 years. 4-year cycle. What's next? More chop. Taking money away. No idea. Probably nothing. Burger. Start poll. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the poll in the chat. What will Anthropic's IPO in October do for Bitcoin/crypto? Your options are definitely going to cause more dump. Upside, super cycle, in fact, 4 years, because that October is the 4-year cycle bottom, apparently, allegedly. More chop, taking money away, or no idea, probably nothing burger. Let us know what you guys think. Ray said clarity will get passed. We won't be here a year from now talking about this BS. We will be talking about Bitcoin to 1 million. I hope so. I don't think clarity is going to be the catalyst, though. I think clarity is the most nothing burger nonsense, and I hope I'm wrong, but I have become a clarity pessimist, almost a clarity hater. I'm been calling my local congressman and telling them to vote against it. I'm just kidding. That's how mad I am. I'm just lobbying against it just because I'm angry about it not passing yet. Bitcoin is getting some upside here. 63,856, looking good. Let's continue with the news segment. CFTC says it's prepared to advance crypto regulation even if Congress fails to pass the Crypto Clarity Act. I want to see Paul Atkins and Michael Selig go to wherever, the Senate, and just bitch slap every single politician. I think that would be great. Great content. I would watch it. It would get millions of likes, millions of views. We could pay off the national debt if they went and did that. SEC to unveil major crypto plans, Bloomberg reports. We are witnessing the largest capex spending spree in history, according to Kobe letter. The AI build-out has become one of the largest long-term capital commitments in corporate history. Dang. Retail investors are rushing back into gold. Largest gold physical-backed ETF GLD attracted 50 million in retail inflows on Wednesday, the largest daily inflow since March. Investor appetite for gold is back. U.S. jobs numbers have now been revised lower in 21 of the last 30 months by a total of 1.05 million jobs. Job market revisions are alarming. Trump media says more than 10 customers, which probably means 11, have signed up for Truth API, which provides faster access to President Trump's Truth Social posts. One of them is like Bloomberg. I like that they said such a small double-digit number. This is kind of brilliant to me. Which provides faster access to President Trump's Truth Social posts. The earliest customers are mostly high-frequency trading firms who are being charged between $60K and $100K per month. So with this being published, what firm paying $100K is going to go bitch? Because I would be like, excuse me, Donald, I'm paying $100,000 a month to access this crap. You gave Jerry the same thing for 60? That's bogus, man. What's up with that? Billy said, I'm a little late with this. I believe solar panels have their sweet spot. If the sun is too hot, like in Arizona or southern Nevada, the scorching hot sun beating down on them causes early wear. Interesting. I actually was not aware of that. That's kind of cool. Cool to know. A handful of stocks now dominate U.S. market trading. Nvidia, Micron, Tesla, SanDisk. Together, the 10 most traded stocks have accounted for an average of 16.4% of total market notional value year to date. Tesla, Microsoft, Google have smaller average order sizes available. A few stocks are driving a massive amount of market volume. Ray said, great poll upside because by then, the market will start pricing in the Bitcoin 4-year cycle recovery. Kind of surprised the market isn't ahead of it right now. Propaganda really works, I suppose. I'm not buying it, man. I really, and again, maybe this will be at my own fault. Not that I don't know how I would lose. I've been accumulating like a psychopath anyways. But my brain so doesn't want this to be true because I feel like it's never that simple. And I guess I would be okay with October being the bottom. I would be okay with it bottoming and us climbing up out of the bottom earlier than that. But I won't be surprised if it takes a lot longer than just October. I don't know. I feel like that's too good to be true. I really do. U.S. government is ramping up hiring. Government job openings jumped 10,000 in June to 823,000, the highest since June 2025. This marks the fourth consecutive monthly increase, totaling 98,000. Government hiring is soaring. Who's going to go apply for a job with the government? I'm just kidding. I don't think I would qualify. U.S. Bitcoin ETF inflows reverse in August, confirming accumulation. Ooh, that's a big deal. Trueflation daily U.S. CPI 2.25% year over year today, down 0.01. Very nice. Cointelegraph posted, interesting, an hour of computer use AI agents now costs an estimated $6 to $8 below offshore outsourced labor at roughly $10 an hour, according to A16Z. We have some interesting AI metrics, actually, that I'm kind of excited to go over. Solana daily transactions hit a record 171.9 million on August 10th, excluding validator nodes, or validator votes. I thought this said vibrator for a second. I was like, whoa, Solana's getting weird. Opinion. Peter Schiff says Bitcoin is highly speculative digital token, not a monetary metal like gold or silver. Okay, Peter Schiff. I feel like he's such an angry dude. I've never heard somebody talk shit about an investment so frequently. New OpenAI COO Brad Lightcap, that's an interesting name, announced he is leaving the company after 8 years to start something new. That's like the High School Musical song. I shared the message below with the OpenAI team this morning. These decisions are never easy, but the talent and mission orientation of the OpenAI team make me more optimistic than ever. It sounds like he's leaving on good terms. Ray said, I hear you, JJ, but Bitcoin hit all-time high before the halving. That's a sign for bullishness. We are going to effing boom, and people will hate us. I guess that's one of my main reasonings actually as to why I think the 4-year cycle is broken. I think that when we broke the all-time high before the halving last bull, which I think we're still in the middle of, I think that that invalidated the 4-year cycle. Alts never saw any rotation, which leads me to think that we're still in this. And that's also why I think Bitcoin hasn't dropped as much as it normally does for a bear market, because I don't think that we're, and everyone thinks I'm crazy when I say this. I actually feel a little crazy when I say this, but I am kind of crazy. I don't think that we're in a bear market. I really don't. But maybe we are. Maybe that is it. Maybe the whole what's it called? Extended cycle diminishing returns. Maybe it's just like diminishing returns and diminishing downside as well. Maybe the cycle didn't extend, but everything else is just getting smaller. Like the returns are smaller and the pullback is smaller. The returns are smaller and the pullback is smaller. And eventually it's just going to be like this really tight, boring situation where everyone's getting hyped up for like an extra 10% next year potentially. And there's going to be all these fairy tales of better cycles and whatnot, and maybe we get a little pump in between, and it's eventually just going to look like this probably. Very, very, very shallow, slow upside. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no clue. But that's what it seems like we're potentially leaning towards, which kind of stinks, but that's why it pays to be early. Imagine buying literally anything on the stock market, like pre-dot-com bubble, or even like 2005, 2010, you know? Like those were great years to buy. Anyways, Bitcoin 63,851. Ray said, forget BS alts though. It's blue chips and Bitcoin. Bitcoin means Bitcoin Cash and BSV as well. Exactly. And then something goes boom, up or down, and it will boom up. Maybe. Watch all the BS when crypto goes off and Trump becomes close to worth as much as number 2 richest person. Yeah. Might happen. Might happen, man. I still think CZ might be the richest man on the planet with like all of his money in untraceable crypto. U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright says oil flows from the Arabian Gulf exceeded 20 million barrels on Sunday, above the pre-conflict average. Coinbase-backed crypto market maker Flowdesk received a full broker-dealer license from Dubai's Vera to serve qualified and institutional investors. This is interesting to me, seeing these market makers like become, or I guess receive approval for like certain regulatory licensing and stuff like that. That makes me think that we might actually be reaching the point where the market's going to be allowed to move forward and up. Because if you choose whether or not to believe the powers that be are suppressing price, or just, you know, they're making it as volatile as possible in a fixed range, easy to control, to profit off of it as much as possible, then it makes sense that the market would pump after all of these market makers became regulated, because they would no longer be allowed to pump and dump the price to maximize their profits on fees. I don't know. It's a mess, man. We've found ourselves in the Wild West. We really have. Update. U.S. and Canadian trade officials are reportedly mapping out a potential deal to present to President Trump next week, according to CBC News. Very cool. Billy said, what would you consider blue chip crypto? Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, or even further? I would just go top 20, honestly. Maybe even, see, I'm a little more degenerate. I like top 50. But we know we're not trying to go for any stables. So I already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I hate this. I don't even know what it is. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I'm going to go 16. I'm going to remove word liberty. DAI is a stablecoin, so 50. So there's 15. There's 5 stablecoins in the top 20. So you got 15 to choose from. I guess I'm counting this as a stablecoin. It's some nonsense exchange coin. Social sentiment. Yeah, I don't know, man. This is Justin Sun, I think. I think this is one of his exchange tokens or whatever. for Gate. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it's just Gate's thing. I don't know. It's some exchange token, and I've never understood why it even exists. Maybe I'd even go top 40 because there's some gems in here like Near, Tau. Yeah, see, I start to get into the nitty gritty. I really do. Ray said Chainlink XRP XLM. There are some others. Philly said top 20. Ray said we should actually talk about XRP. I sold some of mine a while ago. Y'all think it's juicy right now for a bull run? If we're about to enter a bull run, I feel like $1 XRP is decent. I thoroughly enjoy the comeback that XRP had, strictly for the sake of the long-term holders, because, you know, they've been getting dogged on for forever. I think that they deserve to come up, and I think that they got it, and I think that that's brilliant. And all the people that crapped all over it for forever look like doofuses, which is funny. We like a good doofus revenge. Philly, Ray, Philly said, I don't understand why stablecoins are even on CoinMarketCap. Yeah, I think it's goofy. Ray said, BNB as well is a beast. Yeah, I feel like BNB goes under the radar so often too because people just overlook Binance. And regulated or not, the price of that thing is just a monster. It really is. Also, Ada, that's very kind of you. Alert! U.S. credit card debt rose 21 billion to 1.26 trillion in Q2, according to the New York Fed. A lot of people are going to be paying a lot of interest for a long, long time. Make sure you guys don't get caught in the trap of high credit card interest. Not financial advice. Strategy plans to resume buying Bitcoin this year after a 7-week pause, CEO Fong Li says. Dang. Invitation Homes CEO says the institutional home buying ban will lower prices eventually, but not right away. We do know that home sellers significantly outnumber home buyers by like the largest margin ever, which is pretty interesting. Just in, the CFTC charged Goliath Ventures and its CEO over an alleged $400 million fraud scheme. Damn, that's crazy. CFTC, Michael Selig, says the agency will move forward with digital asset rulemaking whether or not the Clarity Act passes. Why don't they just do it anyways? I think it'd be funny. Just step on Congress's toes. I think that'd be hilarious. Short-term Bitcoin holders moved roughly 19,200 Bitcoin to exchanges at a loss over the past 24 hours, according to CryptoQuint. Over the past 24 hours, one of these might have been Michael Saylor, which is kind of hilarious. Google's Gemini app now has more than 1 billion monthly users. CEO Sundar Pichai says it is Google's fastest growing product ever. I do like Gemini, man. And obviously Google's the GOAT, you know. XRP is dogged because it has poor movement. No, XRP is dogged because their community is just like the most diehard, blinded by bullishness people on the planet. And you gotta respect it, man. You really do. Ray said, Philly, I think the best way to look at it is life or death. You have to win, and you have to play the game. What do you feel the most comfortable with? What is the best profitability? Philly says, my wife pays off her credit card balances by the month's end, occasionally by the following month, but she buys everything on credit for the points. That's smart. The credit companies actually refer to people who pay their credit cards off every single month as credit deadbeats because they can't profit off of those people, which is freaking hilarious because they're basically just giving like month-long loans to these people for free. So get wrecked, credit card companies. Polymarket is strengthening its leadership, compliance, and marketing teams ahead of expected fall trading boom around the NFL season and U.S. midterm elections. Cool. Americans took out a record $211 billion in new auto loans in Q2, according to the New York Fed. This is crazy. A record $211 billion in new auto loans in Q2. Now, do you think it's because they're buying more cars, or do you think it's because they're buying less cars for more money? Because I feel like you're getting a lot less car for a lot more money nowadays. The majority of it's plastic or just like computer junk. Like you get an iPad. If you get 2 iPads, then oh my gosh, the price goes up like $50,000. Credit mugging. Yeah, man. You gotta bone mash them You got to bone mash them points. Update: XRP wallets holding at least 1 million tokens rose by over 32 over the past 3 months, despite XRP's market cap falling 29%, according to Sentiment. Interesting. The folks be accumulating. Unfortunately, Ripple has the power to just print as many XRP as they want. Let's confirm that. Maybe I'm lying. Am I lying? I might be lying. There's a possibility that I'm lying. I am lying. It is not fully circulating, though. Get out of here, man. It is not fully circulating. 62.67%. What is the unlock? They just unlock it whenever the hell they want? That's weird. I think that's weird. Where's the other 40%? All right. Investors pour. Nope. America's crude oil stockpile has fallen to its lowest level in over 40 years, down roughly 116 million barrels this year. Dang. Ray said, Philly, happy wife, happy life. Let your wife be a deadbeat in this sense. LOL, JK. Don't beat my ass. Philly said, I always get 5-year car loans, but always pay it off within 3 to 3.5 years. I just don't finance cars. I think it's silly. But to each their own. Investors pour $2.3 billion into the riskier corner of the bond market in July. Bitcoin sellers are showing signs of exhaustion, but a historical market bottom has not yet confirmed, according to Glassnode. Adam Thomas said, you're lying, LOL. SEC to address crypto regulation on its own after the Clarity Act failed to pass Congress last week. Do it. Do it. Mr. Mark Chadwick says the Clarity Act got delayed, but the SEC is moving forward anyway. SEC meeting Friday considering tailored rules for crypto investment contracts. In plain English, special pathways so a crypto project can raise money by selling tokens when buyers expect profits from the team's efforts, without the full traditional IPO-style registration burden. Interesting. The goal is clearer fundraising plus investor protections. Vivek Sen posted, Bitcoin is about to go parabolic soon. The chart says it all. I do like 360. Yeah, we're just waiting for October at this point, man. Allegedly, if it's a 4-year cycle. We'll see. It would be crazy if it was that simple, really. ProCap Financial CEO tells Fox they keep printing money. Bitcoin's going to keep going up over the long run. All you're betting on is the stupidity of the politicians to keep printing money. I don't know about you. That's a bet I'll take all day long. I agree, man. I really do. Crypto Fergani, the moment you've all been waiting for. Here we go. If you keep selling for 2x, you'll never hit a 100x. Crypto Fergani, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta say, this might be the first Fergani post that I blatantly disagree with. I think selling for 2x is fair. Because technically it's not a 100x, but it is a 100%. So, did you 2x your money, or did you make a 100% trade? Which one sounds better? I would rather tell people I made 100% profits instead of just a 2x. 2x sounds small. It's all about perspective, man. Philly said, I have to admit I don't have 15K in cash to buy a car. I mean, you don't have to buy a $15,000 car. So if the car that you bought lasted that long, you should be able to save up 15K. You know what I mean? Especially if you're paying off that car in 3.5 years. You're paying off 15K car in 3.5 years. Why don't you just save that money for 3.5 years, then buy it outright, and you don't have to worry about all the interest that you end up paying. You're getting a $15,000 car for like, at minimum, probably like 18 to 20,000. That's a 33% interest rate. That's crazy. Ray said, LOL, I literally buy a car every 3 to 4 years. I buy base model Hyundai, run them up about 100K, and then sell to some poor bastard, and I scoop another one. Not bad. I just get used cars with like usually 150,000 miles on them, run them up to like as close to 200 as I can get them, and I either scrap them or sell them if I can. I've sold the last few. I've been flipping a lot of cars lately. I think I've done 2 in the past 12 months. I guess, I mean, that's not a lot, but it's more than 0. All right. Next. Palantir will plunge more than 99% to under $1, warns Michael Burry. Wow, he must know something we don't. Berkshire Hathaway gap has been filled from when Warren Buffett announced his retirement in May 2025. Gold, we have liftoff, number go up. It's actually getting larger, so it's less embarrassing. S&P 500 price/book ratio jumps to highest level in history, surpassing the peak of the dot-com bubble. Whoa. The cost to hedge against a stock market drop has fallen to its cheapest level since April 2025. Chinese yuan hit strongest level against the US dollar since February 2023. 88 said LOL, and Ray said it works for me. I drive a lot though, and I need a good whip with no breakdowns. I mean, if you don't want to deal with shopping around and finding the right car, I have no problem with people financing cars. It's not for me, personally. If I were to finance, it would be a cheap piece of garbage, because the expensive piece of garbage is just an expensive piece of garbage with an iPad in the dash. You know what I mean? I would much rather just get the cheap ghetto car that's going to break down instead of getting the expensive bougie car that's also going to break down. They are all the same. They are all the same. The difference is the more new you get now, the more plastic it's going to be, the more computer it's going to be, and the less features are going to last. Like, it's really great to get this shiny new thing, but if that shiny new thing stops working within the first 50,000 miles, then it's disposable. I'm not a fan of disposable automobiles. I think that's silly. I would much rather buy a used old car, because I'm a cheap bastard and I don't know how to well, actually, I don't like the idea of being forced to pay for full coverage car insurance, and for the value of the item that I'm financing depreciating, and me literally paying like 3 times what it's worth by the time it's paid off. Ray said, I just don't trust people. New is new. Used can be some fraudulent ass miles. I don't trust people. LOL. Yeah, it's semantics at that point. I've been lucky, and I've never bought a car that was a ripoff. I've had the luxury of being able to be patient. I've never been in a rush to buy a car, so there's probably that. That probably plays a big factor. But I also live in a rural area, so yeah, insurance, dude. I can't justify like the payment nowadays. Probably looking at like $200-300 a month payment for the vehicle, and $200-300 a month for insurance, which is the most asinine. It doesn't make sense. The insurance should be cheaper than the payment for the car, because the goal is to not have to replace the entire car every time. And the insurance company is already profiting a ridiculously large amount of money just overall. So why do they need basically for you to just give them as much money as what you're paying for the car outright the entire time? Like, by the time you're done, you've bought the car, and then you've given enough money for the insurance company to also buy that same car. So are you buying 2 cars for the price of 1? That's crazy. That is crazy. Philly said, JJ, my credit is 810 to 820. My interest rates are pretty low, but you're still paying interest. I pay no interest on my shitbox. A shitbox with an iPad and some shiny paint. It's still a shitbox. And you're paying for full coverage. I'm just saying. Let's continue. US dollar has already wiped out the July 31st intervention by the US Treasury. I think they worded this incorrectly. It's the US dollar, Japanese yen, not the US dollar specifically. This, of all posts, should have a community note on it. Billion. That's a sick credit score, by the way, Philly. I don't think that I don't think I said anything about that, but I think it deserves to be talked about. Philly's credit score is Detroit area code, so cheers to that. Metro Detroit. It's north. It's north of Detroit. 810. Philly said, but I like driving in style. Well, then there you go. You got your reasoning. I mean, I'm never gonna try to talk somebody out of doing something that they want to do. You know what I mean? It's not for me, personally. Billionaire Michael Saylor says skip college and spend $20 a month on an AI subscription, warns not to learn to do things that AI can do. Can't AI technically do everything, Michael Burry? Jim Osmond posted, NVIDIA's biggest customers, we've talked about this, this is what I was excited about. NVIDIA's biggest customers are spending billions buying its chips. They are also spending billions trying to need fewer of them. That is the risk I'm watching into earnings. When your customers start designing around your margins, pay attention. My latest for bar chart. We've talked about this. Everyone is building out infrastructure for these monstrous requirements, and as time goes on, it's going to become more efficient. Like right now, think about the original PC. The original PC was the size of a room, the size of a building, essentially. Now, you literally basically have a way more powerful PC in your pocket, smaller than a regular, like, graphing calculator. I think that it's crazy to assume that AI is going to just require this much for forever, because it's not. So we need to be prepared for the fact that the technology is going to evolve and it's going to become way more efficient. Ray said you pay interest when your shipbox breaks down on Route 66 in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. New poll. What would you rather have in a zombie apocalypse, a shipbox or a new car? Zombie apocalypse, you can take whatever car you want. And I had more money to prepare. 88 said, guess it depends how many shekels you have dictates the ride. No? Yeah, absolutely. 100%. But at that point, if I want a new car, I would rather buy it outright. And I would not buy I think buying a brand new, like, car this year, I think personally, that's not something I would do. I would buy something 3-4 years old minimum. JJ, you have a good reason for shitboxes. You buy work vehicles. No, actually, my boss buys the work vehicle. JJ thinks like Dave Ramsey. I just don't like financing an automobile. I think it's silly. That's my opinion. And I think it wouldn't be silly if the automobiles were worthy of financing. I don't think that they are, though. They depreciate in value rapidly, and they don't hold up mechanically either. They are becoming more and more disposable over time. They are making vehicles like red Solo Cups. I would rather buy, like, a nice vintage, like, crystal glass and be like a bougie little gay boy with my stupid old-ass car. I don't know. Gosh, the coffee's delicious. I think I hurt my toe. I may have hyperextended my toe, man. I'm kind of frightened. Alright. Bar chart. CoreWeave is getting sent after hours. Now up 60% since we said the selling was likely exhausted in late July. Home sellers now outnumber buyers by 630,000. The largest gap ever recorded. This is pretty sick. Home sellers outnumber buyers by 630,000. I am seeing way more houses at a reasonable price locally. 88 said, oh my. Ray said, that's why I buy a Hyundai with 100k miles and then dump it on some poor guy. LOL. Philly said, Walking Dead creator ate ass. They never gave an explanation how it happened. What? What? Ray said warranty. Alright. Wells Fargo forms a golden cross for the first time since October 2024. The last one sent price soaring 27% over the next 4 months. Juicy. Coinfessions. I lost everything on October 10th. They really need to put the year, because I always think it just says 10 out of 10. I lost everything on October 10th. $2.3 million at 20 years old, and my girlfriend left me. I was sleeping in my friend's van in Palo Alto and slept inside the Aptos office some nights when it was too cold. I don't regret anything. I will make it all back and more. I can respect the lack of regret. I really can. I think regret is for not me. I'm not gonna judge people that regret, but I'm not a person that regrets. But $2.3 million. If I lost $2.3 million, I'd probably have at least 1 million regrets, let alone 2.3. That's a lot of money. Guys, not financial advice, but if you are not a millionaire, and then you end up with multiple millions, take 1 million out, please. Please, please take 1 million out for yourself. Buy a golden toilet. Buy a brand new car outright. Pay cash for it. Whoa. Please don't lose $2.3 million. Financial advice, do not lose money. That's my financial advice. 20 years, 2.3 million, probably parents' money. I don't know, man. He probably just made it with shit coins, man. If it was your whole stack, yep, that would hurt. Absolutely, dude. I would have 2.3 million regrets. Oh my gosh. All right. I made 200K off the Caitlyn Jenner coin and lost majority to the trenches in the bear. I'm barely getting good at making profit in current market conditions. Yeah, this is the kind of market that I remember trading during the previous bear market, and I had my leverage cranked up to like 30x, I think, and I was like foaming at the mouth for like a 0.5% move on the day. Holy cow. Just slap into the S&P and make 100K a year? Yeah, absolutely. Ray said, take 1 million out and buy a bond, not financial advice. I would go S&P, I think. I met this sugar baby in a crypto event, and I spent every single penny on her, and now she blocked me from everywhere. Damn, what an idiot. Thanks for the money, though. I'm just kidding. JJ the Anthropic will be a sell the news event like everything else. I think IPOs are just bad. For some reason, I thought it was a good idea to buy the freaking boxable IPO. Like the modular homemaker. I'm hoping... You know, maybe I'm going to accumulate a little bit. Why not? Why not? I'm hoping Elon, because he, like, sleeps in a boxable. This is, like, such a stretch. This might be one of the saddest things I've ever said out loud. I'm hoping Elon comes out and is like, we're going to use boxable on Mars for some stupid reason. Because, you know, they're probably not going to, engineer specific homes for Mars. They're definitely going to use like a modular home builder, a glorified manufactured home company to put houses on Mars. That's reasonable for me to assume, right? Let's see. Why can't I access my damn Robinhood? I'm logged out everywhere. What the heck? Oh my lord. My favorite thing so far on the channel is 88 being completely flabbergasted that I've lost money in the stock market. I'm like the only person. I'm the only person in like the last 5 years that's lost money in the stock market. Me and Michael Burry. Oh man. That's good. That's good. All right, let's continue. Boxable. I think it's down like over 50% from IPO. Feel good post of the day. Meet Baron, 8.5 years old, and running is his favorite thing to do. Look at this freaking majestic beast. Look at this thing. He will murder you. He will actually murder you if you get in his way. If you disrupt his morning run, you might lose your life. We've also got a cat sneaking in a friend, which is freaking adorable. Watch. I don't know if they're doing it on purpose, but it does look like the cat is actually trying to hide the raccoon. Just stay behind me. We've got bottom view of a cat that has fallen asleep on a glass table. Observe. Indeed. Yes. Fascinating. That's good stuff. Oh, dude, he woke him up. Okay, I didn't like the end. I didn't know they were gonna wake the cat up. This looks great. This is like the size of my damn work van. It will be the best 8 years of your life if you don't ignore the cat. There's literally like a cat hammock in the passenger seat, which is freaking sick. I don't know what they're driving here. It's a ginormous Toyota, but I kind of want it. Also, the cat hammock. You can't really beat the cat hammock. Come on. Driving in the mountains and stuff. It's gorgeous. This is a vacation right here, man. You just take your cats and you go. All right, let's see what Grok said. Solar power is the best overall choice for most zombie apocalypse scenarios. assuming you have or can scavenge the necessary components like panels, charge controllers, batteries, inverters, and wiring. Hydro edges it out only if you control a reliable year-round stream or river with adequate flow and elevation drop. Wind is a useful supplement in the right spots. Human pedal power is a distant last resort for tiny loads only. Here's a clear breakdown. Hydro best when available. Continuous 24/7 output as long as water flows. Minimal battery storage needed for baseline loads. Lights, fridges, pumps, tools. That's huge. Fridge, I think, is the biggest one that I've always been concerned with. Seasonal risks, freezing, drought, and debris can interrupt it. Solar, highly predictable daytime production almost everywhere. Sun is ubiquitous with decent batteries. It covers nights and cloudy periods. Output drops in winter/high latitudes or heavy cloud cover, but modern panels still deliver useful power for decades. Wind intermittent, works day and night when it's windy, often complementary to solar, stormy winter periods. Highly variable, calm spells leave you hanging without storage. Pedal, extremely limited. An average person sustains roughly 50 to 100 watts of electrical output after generator losses for a few hours. Elite athletes hire briefly. One person pedaling hard for hours yields only enough for a phone, small light, or radio, not a group's needs. Calorie cost is high when food is scarce. Whoa, I didn't know that it was that drastic. Jeez. Maintenance, durability, long term. I think the biggest thing at this point then, now that we know this, is batteries. You got to be able to get, and eventually, I'm assuming, make batteries. What's going on, Russian Crush? Bitcoin 63,778. Let's get to the news segment. I'm sorry, the Reddit segment. Philly said, JJ, what's the main page you're reading on Reddit? Not the user, but the R. Okay, so we usually go through debt-free, confession and confessions. Confessions being plural. Am I the Asshole are really good ones. Philly, if you're looking for like good reads, best of Redditor updates. Those are the really, really long form stories that have like concluded and like crazy stuff has happened and they get insane upvotes. A lot of stuff is pulled from other pages. So it'll be like, am I the asshole? Petty revenge? Am I overreacting? Confessions, relationship advice. Any of those posts that get really crazy popular usually end up on best of Redditor updates. But that's the gist. Am I the Asshole is probably the most popular one that I'm aware of, besides best of Redditor updates. Idiot said he's probably making payments on it, JJ. Who on what? Oh, the Toyota. Maybe. Maybe he is, man. My boss just bought this lemon from Georgia. He bought it outright. It's a 2017, so it's only 9 years old. I'm not going to say how much he paid for it, but it was too much. The door ajar light is on constantly because the door is ajar. It's not, but obviously there's a cable broken either in the hinge, or I got to figure out there's a short on the latch. It's something stupid. But my boss calls me the night that they buy it. He's like, this light won't shut off. And then they get home, and I'm like, it says that the door is open. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, it says the door is open. Look on the dash. And I was like, was that always on? And he goes, no. And then the guy that he was with, my coworker, goes, yes. And I was like, did you guys test drive it? And my boss goes, not on the highway. It's like, why would you purchase a vehicle? I'm assuming they just like drove it in a circle in the parking lot and they were like, yeah, let's write a check. This is exciting. I can't do it, man. I can't. I'm trying not to have a nervous breakdown over it. Ray said, JJ, can you take a look at Oracle? I believe it's bottoming. These prices are the prices I was getting 3 or 4 years ago. I've been buying. Philly said confessions or coinfessions. My screen isn't clear enough. So coinfessions is just on Twitter specifically. The Reddit pages that we usually read are confessions and confession. So no S at the end and then with an S at the end. How can a door be ajar? I don't know, man. And when you buy it and you don't pay attention, your doors are actually made out of jars. They might as well be, man. All right, let's go take a look at Oracle really quick. I forget the ticker. There we go. I think it's bottoming. I think Oracle got like really, 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 really hyped up. Yeah, man. Here's my biggest concern right now. That is a head and shoulder. That is a textbook head and shoulder. Now, you might be okay. I don't know, man. It's a little bit iffy. To me, I see a head and shoulder. I see it breaking down and retesting. If it breaks back above this, then there's hope. If it rejects that, it might get spicy. This could be a fake out. You got a ton of volume right here. So the hype has not gone ignored by any means. There is a long-term upside for sure. We're on the daily already. So, I mean, you get a ramp up and then you get the downturn. Ramp up, downturn, ramp up, downturn, ramp up. I guess that's the problem. Each one of these is pretty uniform. And then you kind of got out of that. You got this one, you got this one, and then you got correction, 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 attempt, and correction. So this is all right here. This is all correction, it seems. It was overhyped and it's selling off now. The trend is your friend until the end, and it does seem like the trend has come to an end. Now that does not mean that it cannot enter another trend. Or maybe this is just a big boy correction in a more longer term uptrend. But for now, based on what we've seen in the past on this chart, I'm going to go ahead and say that that uptrend has been busted and you're going to have to form a new trend soon. What's possible? I don't see why I can't do something like that. Long term, get your parabola in there. That is if you end up invalidating this head and shoulder, which is possible. But you got to be careful. My biggest piece of not financial advice would be exercise caution. It's already at a decent price compared to what it was at its highs, so accumulation is not unheard of. But again, I'm not a financial advisor. So let's see. Let's go to Reddit. We've got Debt Free from Did Action Dodo 6. I have paid off over $26,000 in student loans this year. I still owe about $100,000, but I am proud of myself. Edited for context, I finished grad school last year. I got a job quickly and have a good salary with a generous 401k match. I invest 13% of my gross income, live in a MCOL area in a decent place. I don't know what MCOL is. After all is said and done, I bring home about $6,000 monthly, post-tax 401k insurance, and pay $2,500 towards my highest interest student loan group. I used some savings from a high-yield savings account to pay off a larger sum in February, which is when I started paying things off. Plan on paying a little more for the next 5 months to make it to $40,000 paid off this year. Wow! Things I still spend money on: vacation, little treats. You have to. You can't make life completely unenjoyable. Things I spend less money on: eating out, drinking, activities with friends. I feel like you can do activities with friends without spending any money. Drinking, I feel like that's a waste of money personally, but to each their own. I got nothing against it. Eating out, yeah, I feel like that would fall under little treats and vacation, to be completely honest. Things I don't usually buy unless I have to: clothes and other crap. I agree. I think I said this the other day on stream. I bought pants for myself for the first time in like maybe ever. Like, I know I bought pants before. I've had like pants rip randomly where I've had to replace them with like a cheap, trashy pair till I got home. But I bought like actual, like, fancy pants, if you will, for the first time in my life the other day. And they were on sale. They're normally $80. I got them for $20. Pretty good, right? Pretty good, right? Russian Crush said, anyone play PLAG today? I do not know what that is. 88 said, how much debt the guy have in student loans? He's only making $6,000 a month. Wonder if it was worth it. I think it's a female. I guess I just assumed, though. Why did I assume it was a woman? I don't know. Maybe the heart. Yeah, this probably was what it was. I'm just assuming that a dude's not gonna be like, I'm proud of myself. You know, that's a very girly thing to say. Um, I feel like it was worth it. Their take home is 4K. They're contributing, what do they say, 13%? They're contributing 13% of their income already to investments. Their 401k gets paid insurance and taxes, and their take home is $6,000. I feel like that's more than worth it. They're paying this loan off really fast. They're talking about having 40K paid off, which is going to leave them with 80. So if it takes 3 years to pay that off, and then your take home is just purely profits, I think that's huge. Do we have any trades to make? It's been a long time since we've looked at the community trading account. I almost forgot about it. Take home 4K or 6K? It says their take home is $6,000 a month. Take home is 6K after they pay taxes, 401k, and insurance. They invest 13% of their gross income. 40K, they're planning on getting to $40,000 paid off. All right. BTW, that's probably worth a short. This beat thing, I don't know what that is, but I see that all the time too. I can't believe M is still up here. That thing was a total scam. Huh. Yeah, we haven't had any trades recommended for the community trading account in a while, so let us know. We have a great track record. We're 3 for 3, I think. And we have $83.16.5 in the account. All right, this was exciting. Pay off your debt. Beautiful. That's awesome. Congratulations. Good job. Keep up the good work. Good job. Elaborate a bit more on how you did it. Thanks. Added a little more info into post body. You're a wrecking machine. Congratulations. Yeah, the fact that they're like, I've paid off $26,000 this year and I'm working on getting it to $40,000 this year. That's pretty impressive. Like, I don't know what their bills are like, but damn. I like the hash ticker. It's the hash ticker. The hash slingy slasher. Hash ticker. Yeah, the logo is pretty cool too. I feel like logos are very overlooked in crypto as of late. I don't know. It used to feel a little more uniform. Now it's kind of messy. We're just trying to do like some geometric shape or some junk. I don't know. You know what was the most hype to me? When Alex Becker... Does he still upload, man? I haven't seen anything from him in forever. When Alex Becker was leaning all into the metaverse, and he was doing like his Neo Tokyo stuff, and he was talking about like Ready Player One, and that was probably the funnest time in crypto, dude. Regardless of how you feel about NFTs, that was fun. I enjoyed that. I really did. Getting a loan for education only pays $80K a year's week? No. It's profit. $80,000 profit. It's $4,000. No, $6,000. See, now you're making me say four. $6,000 a week. A week? Did they say a week? Was it 6K a week? What was the damn post? Dang it. Hang on. $6,000 a month. Oof, okay, maybe it is what it is. $6,000 a month times 12. Yeah, it is 72,000. Okay. I mean, they're investing. They said 13% of that is going to investments. So, I don't know, man. What's the cost of doing business? Some people want to go to school. I feel like going to school gives you a nice shoehorn in. You get your foot in the door, and that's really all that's worth. Whereas being an entrepreneur, you do have to work to build your foundation. School is that foundation. It costs money, but the money replaces the work. So, it makes sense. I don't know. I'm 50-50. I went to college briefly, and I did learn some stuff. I feel like it depends on what you go for. Some of the courses offered or some of the majors are predatory. Like, I don't know. Some of the stuff is just silly. I feel bad, but art history, it is 1,000% overrated. I would finance a vehicle before I went to college again. Damp poll. Come on. I don't get it. Grab your balls and be a bull. Ooh, Ray's throwing shade. Logo lives matter. Philly said, JJ, after Reddit reads, can we go through top 20 coins and do another which cryptos may never come back and do anything of value? Absolutely. I think so. JJ, I tried to call you about renewing your extended warranty, LOL. 88 said, yeah, but I'm saying you don't need to go into debt to make 80K a year. Oh, never. Absolutely. Practical, greater than theory. Ray said, business degree is a effing joke, LOL. Everyone. That's like the I don't know what I'm going to school for degree. Business or accounting. Russian Crush said it's overrated because many go to college and end up working for a minimum wage with big debts. Yeah. College cannot teach you to be an entrepreneur. And when you graduate, if you don't get a job in your field, you have to be an entrepreneur. And if you're like, well, that's too much work, why did I even go to college? Then you're going to end up, unfortunately, at an entry-level job. Which may not be unfortunate. If you work at Walmart and work your way up, you can make $126K a year just managing. I think Buc-ee's has even more impressive salaries. Okay, this is from the Frugal subreddit. Where do you guys change your own oil and do car maintenance? Most of you guys are going to say the dealer, which is fine. I used to go to Pennzoil and get the quick 10-minute oil change. My time was more valuable at the time, and it didn't cost $80, $90 to change my oil. It was cheap. Now, it costs $80, $90. So I just do it myself for $30, and it takes me like 10 minutes. This kid says my apartment complex doesn't allow it, blah, blah, blah. Basically, my answer to this is to go to an auto parts store. Now, they'll let you work on your car. They probably won't let you jack it up, but you just don't go in there and tell them. You park there, you jack it up, you drain your oil, get your filter off, put the new filter on, plug it up. By the time they realize it and they come out, you're good. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. I didn't know. I'm done. I'm done already. Because it is liability. Billy said you missed my college loan comment. Philly said, F a duck. I can't imagine having a student loan. Today's generation of students are screwed. Most will not find a job that uses their choice of college major. Yeah, that's true. That is very true. Walmart oil change? I feel like Walmart has the best prices for everything, man. All right, this cracked me up. This is from Wall Street Bets. The real reason Berkshire Hathaway started spending its cash pile. Buy. Did he say buy? I thought that was kind of funny. Beat me to it. I've got a stock here that could really excel. Sell? That's pretty good. This is madness. I can't take it anymore. Goodbye. Bye. All I can think of is the seagulls from Finding Nemo. That's funny. That's a good one. Okay. Next, 100% student loan debt free. Another one. This is from Debt Free from Competitive Walrus 67. All loan details completely paid off from Advantage Federal Student Aid. I posted earlier this year about paying off approximately $30K in private student loans, and the next goal would be to tackle my $15K in government-funded student loans through Advantage. Well, I recently made my last payment, which was reflected today on the Advantage site. That's a horrible name. After 6 years of paying on my student loans, I've officially paid off everything and am student loan debt-free. It takes some massive budgeting and ability to live below your means for a while, but it's doable. You got this. I think, and again, I don't want to kick people while they're down or anything like that. I think a good chunk of people that insist that their student loan debt is crippling, it probably is, but you have to make sacrifices. You cannot get away with just making the minimum payment. The minimum payment should be a last resort, like, oh no, I'm struggling this month. Here's the minimum to defer the payment until next month. When it comes to student debt specifically, especially the predatory ones with the high interest rates, you need to look into it before you sign. See if you can get a better rate. If you do what you do and you have the debt, pay it off. You got to work harder and pay it off. It sucks, but you have a diploma, which should allow you to make more money. If it doesn't, then why did you go to school? I don't know. I'm sure you can figure it out. You're an adult. You've graduated. You got a more expensive brain than most, or more valuable at least. Very nice. This is exciting. Okay. Now we're getting into the nitty gritty. What's going on, Mr. Roberts? Happy Tuesday, my friend. Will I be the asshole if I asked my kid's friend to stop making fun of our food? This one's a little spicy. This has got like the parent-child dynamic. Luckily, I haven't had to run into anything like this. I got a good story for later. I'll tell the story after this. My kid is 14 and has a cool and diverse group of friends. I really do enjoy them. However, one friend who has been coming over throughout the summer has been making comments about our food every time she is here. Basically, she makes fun of us for being white people who eat white people food. Sometimes she brings food over from her own culture to share, which is awesome. I think it is great. She loves cooking and sharing her family's dishes. The thing is, she makes the snide comments about our food being bland or white, then says she will bring food over to show us what's good. She isn't really sharing to be nice. It's like she's trying to expose us to culture and expand our minds because we are so ignorant. She is just 14, so I'm trying to be patient. We actually love all kinds of cuisine, and we love learning recipes from different places. Believe it or not, we even like spicy food. She's not helping her case. That's the most white person thing I've ever read. Last time she was here, we made Penang Thai curry. She was actually rude about that too, and criticized us for having limes as an ingredient. The recipe calls for lime juice. Tonight, she is here again. My husband and I made tacos. She walks in and starts making fun of us for making white people taco night. To be fair, we know we aren't amazing chefs, but we enjoy cooking for the family and whatever kids show up at the house. I'm just really not a fan of being insulted repeatedly. It's not playful banter that I participate in. It's her making snide comments about us. The last thing I want to do is mess up my kid's friendship, so I have tried ignoring her. But I'm thinking about telling her it's not cool to be insulting and that she doesn't need to come over if she's just going to make rude comments about our food. Am I the asshole? No, absolutely not. I think you gotta set ground rules. You've let this kid walk all over you for how long now? She's gonna continue to do it. You need to be like, whatever, I'm gonna make up a name. Let's say her name's Melissa. When she's like, y'all make white people food. Why is lime an ingredient? White people taco night. You'd be like, okay, Melissa, if you're gonna be rude, you can fucking leave. You don't have to eat our food, but if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Just like hit her with the most white people shit possible. You need to dumb her up with white people shit. And I think that's hilarious. Whoever's okay, wait a minute. She's just immature, non-aggressive. We respect all cultures and their nuances in our home. We'd appreciate you do the same. Might get the message across. Oh yeah, if you kill them with kindness, they'll feel stupid. They will feel so stupid. Agree with this approach. I've always told my kids and any guests, opposite problem, traditional Chinese dishes. I say we don't yuck people's yum. If you're not interested, you don't have to eat, but we don't make derogatory comments about anyone's food. Okay, we don't yuck people's yum is also super, super Chinese. That's really funny. Deadass, if I was a guest and I insulted the food of the person paying for it, I'd be banned. OP is being a saint. Definitely tell her to stop. Or she just can eat at home if she's such a gourmet chef now. This is not gourmet. That's racism, in fact. She's grown up and tried to push everyone boundaries, and that's how we lose a common sense. It's a kid, they're having fun, that's no way. Exactly, kid needs to be taught racism doesn't just fly one way. Ooh, yeah. I don't know, man. Don't bring race into it. Just say stop being an asshole. Why does everything have to be about race? If somebody's being an asshole about food, they can either not eat or they can leave. NBIS overnight, LOL, Burry short getting wrecked. Dude, poor Burry. I kind of feel bad for him. Yeah, that kid is disrespectful. Yeah, I feel like the kid's just an asshole, you know? And it's probably not the kid's fault. TikTok probably teaches them to make fun of white people food, you know? But I kind of find it funny, personally. White people... I mean, we don't really have culture. I think this lady's a little self-aware, too, which is why she shut up for so long. But, kids got to be respectful. And you have to teach kids that come over to your house to be respectful. I don't know. JJ, I realize you've been on for an hour and a half. I just got here. Can you still give me your opinion on a couple shorts I'm looking at? Absolutely. Okay. Seeking advice, 33K in credit card debt, pregnant with first child. This is from 8 days ago. Oh, I think we read about this one. Maybe not. Maybe they posted it again. Or maybe this is new. Okay. Hello. Chase card 1, 11,000. Wow. Number 2, 13,000. Both insane predatory interest rates. Capital 1, 6,000. APR 23%. I missed a payment and was offered 9% minimum payment of 92 a month. I think I will take this unless someone suggests it's a bad idea. I mean, that's nice that they offered a better APR. That's weird. I've never heard of that. Another city card. No, just another card. 58. Another card. 26. 0% until September 2027. Salary is $95,625 after taxes, 401k. Take home $21.74 bi-weekly. Whoa. Is that crazy? Why are they contributing a ridiculously large amount of money to their 401k? $95,625 divided by 12. What is happening here? They gotta be getting garnished or something. They should be taking home, before taxes, almost $8,000. Let's just call it $7,900. Let's round down. $7,900 minus $21.74. There's $5,700 missing from their take-home pay. Oh, it says bi-weekly? I'm so confused. They do not get paid $95,625 a year. Their take-home pay is $21.74 bi-weekly? They're getting $4,400 a month, $43.48 times 12. Their take-home pay is $52,000. There's no way they're paying $50,000 in taxes and insurance and 401k. Am I crazy? Bi-weekly? You can't live off of that. I'm so confused. Rent is $2,000. Cars $345. Insurance $200. Groceries $300. Storage. Currently don't have an emergency fund, which contributes to the debt. Take out your 401k and pay off all the cards. Just stop contributing the 401k. Take it out and pay off the debt, and then start the 401k over. Minimum stock like 1,700. Should I sell and use this? This is crazy. Give yourself 1 to 2k emergency fund. Sounds like your expenses are relatively low and you make great money. I don't think that's great money. Am I crazy? With all that debt? Those numbers are not adding up. Yeah, the numbers definitely don't make sense. They're not bringing home no freaking 95k. Someone's lying to them. Someone is lying. Mr. Robert said, looking at shorting TXRH and Plus. I don't short often and maybe even won't on these, but I wanted to when I charted this past weekend. Russian Crush said, because if it was the other way around and someone's saying something bad about black people food, it would be called racist. Yeah, that's true. 95k salary, that much credit card debt, sounds like a shopping addict. Those numbers are not adding up. I'm assuming that there's a garnishment in here, because garnishment can be up to 25% of your income, and that's the only thing. 25% chunk is the only thing that really makes sense missing out of this. For take home being $2,000, they're making $1,000 a week, which is $52,000. You know, there's no way their take home is supposed to be 95k, and there's just $50,000 annually missing. Oh, I didn't realize my annual salary was actually half of this. That's crazy. I don't know. I can't help this person if I don't have the full picture. They need to stop spending on anything until those cards are paid off. That's a lot of money. That adds up. 23, 33. They're looking at like $40,000 just in credit card debt. And their take-home pay is $40,000 a year. So they got to pay that shit off. And then worry about it. And, of course, they have a financed vehicle. I guess that's not a bad payment, though. $345 to $200, that's not bad at all. The math is not mathing. Yeah, unfortunately, that's par for the course with Reddit. People don't know how to math. Okay, TXRH. Texas Roadhouse. See, this is post-World Cup. People probably went long like this and crazy. All the Australians were like, the Texas Roadhouse is crazy. They got peanuts and unlimited soda pop. Everyone was losing their tits over like just like normal American things. White people food. People were freaking out over that white people food during the World Cup. Ray said, JJ, if you had to pick one indicator to use, only one, which would you use? To be clear, includes Japanese candlesticks. RSI. I'm an RSI guy through and through. If you're not wanting RSI to be involved, I would go fixed range volume profile. Because it's kind of like a cheat sheet to the normal points of interest that I put on the chart. Okay, thinking about shorting this. The trend is your friend until the end. We are on the daily. Let's go to the weekly even. Weekly might be a little too zoomed out. So we've got upside. We've got upside. We've got upside. And this, I guess it does look a little different, doesn't it? I guess my biggest thing is it kind of looks like you had upside and then it accumulated and it's breaking out again. That's my only concern, especially on the weekly. But I mean, it's Texas Roadhouse. I'm so bad at shorting too. I feel like I'm going to be a bad person to ask about this. Is that a wedge? Maybe it's kind of a wedge. Yeah, I'm getting a little wedge vibe. So you got 1, 2, 3 points of confluence on the top, 1, 2, 3 on the bottom, and you are breaking out. Is this a first? Here's the big question, and we've seen this with stocks. Most recently, I believe with the NASDAQ and the S&P. First move, false move, breakout to the downside, and continuation. I could totally see this playing out. RSI in the week is not overbought in the weekly. That is true, but now that you point that out, let me put that back where it was. You do have, if you get a rejection here, you will have bearish divergence, and it will be monstrous bearish divergence. So, actually, I would just go to this. You do have to consider that. So the second, if this gets a reversal, then that will establish this trend and set up that bearish div. Now that bearish div does potentially point to further upside in price and further downside in RSI, but that short will still be worth playing out. I would only short for less than a month. Yeah, I think it would definitely be a short-term play, but I guess I would just wait for this rejection because the setup for bearish div is definitely there. Not financial advice. This also does look like a potential tweezer top, especially on the weekly. Yeah, daily, it's really struggling right there. Yeah, just I don't know, a level worth keeping an eye on, I suppose. Is that the same blue? Yeah. The other one was, what was the other one? Plus. Pet supplies. E plus. We're on the daily. E plus. Okay, so that's lower high. Trend is your friend until the end. Let's go to the weekly. Very, very simple. Yeah, see this one I'm gonna be very vague on because I see a monstrous uptrend, and my little dumb crypto brain does not think that these are worth buying and that they're going to go down, but every time I think that, they continue to go up. You do have consolidation here. You're definitely getting some semblance of consolidation somewhere. I don't know, it's sloppy. It is a lower high, and it looks like it's not going to be able to get above 100, at least on the weekly. Daily, yeah, it looks like it won't get above 100. So if it continues to reject there, like at least here it kind of tried, it might still be doing that. There's definitely possibility of it making an attempt. But I don't hate the idea of shorting it because it does look like a potential double top right here. So I guess this one, again, keep an eye on it. I'm not going to say yes or no. But I could see where it would be weak. I could also see where it could keep running. Because the parabola, this is a violent move to the upside. Now it might have blown off right there and it might just be doing a little dead cat bounce thing. That seems entirely possible, especially with this violent move to the downside. So, yeah. I don't dislike either of them for a short opportunity. Okay, let's continue. This is from Petty Revenge, posted by Keyboard Bastard. My boss wanted me to falsify invoices, so I gave him a hardware problem my last 2 weeks. I was a system administrator at a company and the domain admin, meaning I could manage user profiles and startup scripts. One of the directors asked me to do something I absolutely wasn't comfortable with: alter invoices after they were generated so clients would be billed for work that wasn't actually performed. That extra money helped his department look more profitable. He knew I was one of the people in the company with access to Photoshop and assumed I was morally bent in his favor. I was not. I refused. I told my boss, and when my boss did nothing, I put in my notice. A few weeks later, I was already in my final 2 weeks with the company, and he pushed again to alter a bunch of invoices, this time claiming it was an approved thing from accounting. I refused again. But this time, I also decided he could experience a small IT mystery. I wrote a simple batch script that randomly rebooted a computer between 5 to 10 minutes after startup and added it to his profile startup script through Active Directory. He knew I had access to everyone's machines, but he assumed it was a hardware issue because they were experiencing them for a full year across his department. After about 5 random reboots, he called me into his office for a fix. The director went to lunch and I sat down at his computer, stared at the screen, and began my extremely advanced troubleshooting process. I ate the Skittles from the jar on his desk for about 5 minutes. Ew, I don't want your desk Skittles, that's gross. I told him I'd keep an eye on it. He never figured it out. The funniest part is that my own IT manager had no idea what startup scripts were. So a file named something boring like cmosupdates.bat was enough to fly under the radar. I left the company. A week later, the old director started contacting me demanding I finish a project I had committed to, unpaid. It was something my replacement couldn't handle. I ignored the messages, blocked his number, and moved on. Perpetual reboot insanity.bat lives on in legend now. This is pretty good. It's definitely petty, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. When they ask you to do work after you leave, that's when you bust out the consulting rate, which is 3 times what they were paying you before you left, right? Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah, never become the fall guy, never become the patsy when somebody asks you to do something that's potentially illegal and fraud. Just don't do it. I always hesitate whenever somebody's like, we want you to be the treasurer. Like anything that has to do with managing money, I'm always like, are the books that wrecked that you want somebody with 0 experience, like suddenly handling your money, you know? Tom Stocks Code said stocks look good, overnight CPI leak. Nice. Ray said, we are so back, fellas. People are buying steaks at Texas Roadhouse. Economy is good. LOL. Texas looks good, in my opinion. Let's see. Philly said 40K in credit card debt. They're either buying junk or paying all their monthly bills using credit cards and only making the minimum payment. JJ, that sounds like something you would do. Oh, for sure. See, the problems that I have at my work are so goofy, and they never make any sense. And I go to fix them, and I'm like, I can't figure it out. And then all of a sudden, it just magically works. There's a running joke now that I just have the magic touch. Everyone tries everything, and then I try those same things, and it just suddenly fixes the problem. So maybe there's like a evil side of me that just completely like wipes all consciousness, and I'm like setting up all these traps, and I'm the only one who knows how to fix them. I don't know. Ray said, just say no. Look them in the eye, too. Oh, God forbid somebody grow balls. How dare you even suggest such a thing? Okay, another debt-free from the Data Rat. Balance transfer trap. I'm incredibly embarrassed to say that I've fallen into the balance transfer trap for years on end. Because of my previous high salary, I've been able to get deals like 0% interest until 1.5 years ahead. But my God, does time fly by. Especially now that I'm making significantly less money. In October, I owe about $7,000, and in May, I owe $13,000. What? I'm so sick about this. I've recalculated my budget, and I only have about 1K in spare income every month. That usually goes to something unexpected: pet, healthcare, family things, etc. I still have some balance transfer options that would expire October 2027. Should I do this one more time, or is this just me spinning my wheels? Not to mention the 5% fee has cost me at least $3,000 over the years. I do plan to apply for new jobs in the coming months to get back to a higher salary, but the unknown on that timeline is eating me up. I think that's the problem too. It says I do plan on applying for new jobs in the coming months. Plan in the coming months is procrastination. Apply for them. Stop your spinning your wheels and procrastinating as much as humanly possible, because you probably don't want to work. It's really easy to not work when you're not working. You need to just get the work done. Do it. There's no balance transfer trap. You're just literally using it as an excuse to not pay off your debt. Billy said, JJ, can you still do the top 20 thing before you run out of time? I have no early obligations tomorrow, so absolutely. Confession. I went out with my interviewer to secure a higher salary, and I can't stop feeling sick about it. From OK, following 3602. I did something I never thought I would do, just to get a job offer, and the guilt has been eating me alive ever since. I was in the final stages of interviewing for a role that offered a significant bump in pay, money that would genuinely change my financial situation. Toward the end of the process, things between me and the interviewer crossed into personal territory. Ooh. We ended up going on a date, hanging out, and spending the night together. Okay, I thought that it was actually going to be a date. It sounds like he slept with this person, though. Damn. I was going to be like, that's not that big of a deal. You're kind of being a baby, but if you spent the night, you had sex with this person. I knew it was happening, that I knew when it was happening, that it was a massive conflict of interest and completely unprofessional. It sounds like it was just consensual adults. But part of me also knew that leaning into it would basically guarantee the position and give me the leverage to push for a much higher starting salary. When the official offer came through, it was everything I asked for. On paper, I got the job and the money, but in reality, I feel sick about how it happened. Every time I look at the offer letter, I'm hit with a wave of anxiety and shame. I keep spiraling, trying to figure out if I was taking advantage of the situation. I mean, I would argue she took advantage of you, man. You've been used, you know? She was in the position of power in this situation, so I'm just saying. To figure out if I was taking advantage of the situation, if I was being taken advantage of, or if we both just using each other. That's probably the result here. You guys were both just using each other. It is what it is, man. Like I said, consensual adults. I can't talk to anyone in my real life about this because the fallout would be massive. So I'm just carrying this secret around alone. Getting the job was supposed to solve my financial problems, but now it just feels like a constant reminder that I traded my integrity for a paycheck. Don't be a pussy. Seriously, I'll take that job if you don't want it. Look, I don't know how old you are, but unfortunately, as we get older, most of us have shit we've done that we're not proud of. Who is this? Some people are just better at covering it up than others. If that guy ever decides to reflect on his life, this will probably be a point he wishes he would have just stayed buried. The fact that you even feel bad about this speaks to your character. There's plenty of people in the world that would have done it with no hesitation and just sleep fine at night. Learn from it, own it, and do your best not to repeat the same mistakes. Wishing you the best. Yeah, don't be a baby. I feel like they're being a weenie. They're like, oh no, I did this thing and it's kind of bad. Oh no. I don't see a problem with that. I think it really falls back on the whole money doesn't buy happiness thing. It sounds like this person has eliminated entirely their financial concerns in their life. So now immediately they have to pivot. They're like, oh no, what is this mental thing that I can worry about now? I slept with somebody to get a higher paying job. I'm a horrible person. You're not a horrible person. You were an adult. You met another adult. You guys did adult things. Whatever. Who cares? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Clearly you were qualified for the job. Do the job. Be good at it. And nobody will ever give a crap. I feel like you have nothing guilty to feel unless the guy was married. Unless the person was married. But maybe that's on them. If they were married and you knew, then sure. But if like I said, if they're just two consenting adults, stop being a weenie. Mr. Robert said, JJ, do you mind one more chart, please? RKT. Looks like it changed interest late May. Volume increase and the bullish divergence showed itself March 30th to May 19th. I will not get into the nitty gritty of that, but I will look at the chart the way that I look at them normally. Rocket companies. I do like Rocket. So here's what I'm going to say about this right out the gate. Mortgage situation. Rocket being a mortgage provider. The trend is your friend until the end. Wow, this thing kind of looks like crap, doesn't it? Definitely in a uptrend, and volume is increasing, which is good. With that uptrend, it kind of seems like there's decent upside here. So if institutions are no longer going to be allowed to buy homes, and there's going to be in my opinion, or maybe just my hope, my fantasy, there's going to be a boom of first-time home buyers being able to afford houses. I feel like there's potential here. The sellers outnumbering buyers, I feel like would be a good thing as well, because there's more than enough homes available for people that want homes. I feel like the only thing that they need is interest rates to chill. And then this is probably great. Honestly, right now, with how bad the situation is, probably a great accumulation. Not financial advice, just my opinion. But like I said, the trend is your friend until the end. Now, you do see like a little bit of a slowdown here. You can definitely see the trajectory is changing for sure with this specifically. So you are getting a slowdown. I guess my biggest concern would be a arc. Obviously, it's not going to go negative, but it's sitting at 14 right now. What's the worst I can get? It's gotten down to $6-7 before. So 50%, personally, not a big deal. Ray said Rocket actually makes me hard right now. So yeah, I don't know. That's what I see. You did have bearish div right here, which is playing out. So yeah. Make the argument that already played out. So definitely potential depending on the trend and how. I would say this one is actually strictly going to be based on what happens with interest rates and the housing market. But potential little triple bottom situation right there with some upside. Not financial advice. My frugal target would be 18 if I was looking for that inverse head and shoulder. You got a nice wick indicative of some buying pressure as well. Bitcoin's up to 8%, currently trading at 63,777. Lucky numbers. Billy said, was the guy married? He's not a horrible person. Women do it all the time. Yeah, exactly. It's not a swing trade for 1 to 4 weeks. It's only a swing trade for 1 to 4 weeks. It looks good to me. Okay. Would you guys go out on a date and potentially hook up with the person interviewing you to secure a higher salary if no parties were married or in a relationship? Like you're both single and you're at the last portion of the interview and they're like, do you want to go out on a date with me? Are you going to be like, yeah, or like, yeah, I think it's a conflict of interest. Let's talk to each other after I get the job. You know? I don't know. Let me know in the chat. Okay, poverty finance. How do so many other people have newer cars? Oh, this is weirdly topical. United States, male, 19 years old. Wise presentation 914. By newer, I mean like 2014 and up. Is there some kind of resource out there I don't know about? My family and I recently moved to the south from a dense transit-oriented area. Oh my gosh, I have a really heavy flashlight. Could have broken my damn fish tank. Okay, from a dense transit-oriented area in the Northeast, got priced out, and it's been tough. I don't have my license yet, but my dad drives me everywhere. We drive a beat-up 1995 around since we moved here. And while it's definitely gotten us far, it's had some issues from time to time, and we really can't rely on it to go long distances. We live in a smaller suburban rural town, and most jobs pay like 10 to 13 an hour max, which is really hard to survive off of. Most people in this town drive an hour to the city for work, but with our unreliable vehicle, we can't really do that. This car will easily last us another year if we stay in our town, but probably only a few months, maybe even a few weeks, if we start driving long distances. We'd really like to find jobs in the city so that we can make more money. Our town is relatively poor, and even the poorest parts of it, people are still riding around in like 2013s at least. Is there some kind of resource I don't know about? How do people afford these? My dad has low credit. I have none, and we definitely don't have like 6K or more to go drop on something nicer and more reliable. Any insight is appreciated. Honestly, right out the gate, I would just start doing work around the neighborhood and just accumulate cash. Going into debt is the right answer. Most people have these newer cars because they get predatory loans. The best thing for a car dealer to do is to find somebody who does not make that much money, give you a car that costs the maximum amount that you can afford. With a really high interest rate, you start making payments. So they're collecting this money now. They collect it month 1, month 2, month 3, and then you stop paying. You stop paying. Guess what? They're going to come pick up that car. That car is going to go back in their lot. Oh, that was impressive. I was not expecting to be able to do that with one hand, one stroke too. They're going to come pick up that car. They're going to put it back in their lot for the exact same amount of money. Rinse, repeat. Somebody walks in, I have this much money. They're like, okay, you can afford this much car. They make a couple payments. They stop making payments. Car gets repossessed. And then guess what? They've just doubled their money on this car, and they've only put like 1,000 miles on it. It's very, very predatory. And they actually probably have a bunch of guys, buddies that they like went to school with, who own tow trucks, where they're like, hey man, I need you to go to repossess this car because it was dealer financed and they haven't made a payment. They missed one payment. So legally I'm allowed to go buy this bad boy, or go steal this bad boy. Mr. Roberts, you ever read that where he said, I would argue rocket stock will lead the interest rate decision? Probably. I don't know. That's my answer to the newer car thing. Last, from the confession subreddit, from Angelic Cake. I pretended I didn't get my friend's birthday party invite so I could stay home and play video games. My group of friends from college has this tradition where whenever it's someone's 30th birthday, we all rent an Airbnb somewhere upstate for a long weekend. That sounds like so much fun. It's usually fun, but this year has been brutal for me with work. And by the time Dan's birthday weekend rolled around last month, the thought of spending 3 straight days socialization heavy, drinking, and playing loud board games made me want to crawl under a rock. Dan sent out the paper invitations 2 months in advance, plus a paperless post link in our group chat, about 3 weeks before the trip. When everyone was discussing carpools in the chat, I muted the group thread. A few days later, Dan texted me directly asking if I was coming because I hadn't RSVP'd yet. Instead of being an adult and telling him I was burnt out and couldn't make it, I panicked. I texted back the next morning saying I never got emails or notifications and that my phone has been glitching out with iMessage updates. I even sent a fake screenshot where I cleared out our recent text history to make it look like his messages weren't delivering properly to my phone. That's stupid. That's so dumb. I told him I had already committed to helping my dad fix his garage roof that exact weekend, since I thought the party was a different week. Dan was super understanding and said he was sorry for the miscommunication. It's not his fault. That Friday, while 6 of my closest friends were driving up north together, I ordered 2 large pizzas, locked my front door, put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and spent 72 uninterrupted hours playing Red Dead Redemption 2. Let's go. In my sweatpants. It was honestly one of the most relaxing weekends I've had in 3 years. Sometimes that's what you need, man. But on Monday, Dan posted a photo dump on Instagram with the caption, "Missing a few key people this weekend. Seeing his face made me feel like absolute garbage. He's been a great friend to me for almost a decade, and I lied straight to his face just because I was too lazy and cowardly to say I needed a mental health weekend. I haven't been able to look at our group chat the same way since." I would just confess, man. I would just confess the whole thing. Be like, hey, man, I'm really sorry. I'm really embarrassed. This is how it all went down. I was kind of a little bitch about it, but I just needed time off. I didn't want you to think that I didn't want to hang out with you. Whatever. Communication's important. don't lie to your friend's face. I feel like no one's an asshole here. They're not even asking if they're an asshole, but no one's an asshole here. It's just there is that little cowardly, childish response, but it's whatever. You could just also ignore it and probably nobody will give a shit. Plan a weekend, take them out to dinner or something. I understand the need for time, blah, blah, blah. Don't pass up these opportunities. Don't do things that will push your friends away. Yeah, I feel like it's hard to have friends once you get into your 30s, man. I do. I also, though, have no problem telling my friends that I'm exhausted and I'm not doing shit. Billy said, what about dealers that call the buyers back after 2 weeks demanding more money? Your loan terms weren't as good as originally thought. I've never heard of that. That's crazy. If you sign paperwork, you got to get copies, man. Take them to court. Tell them to sue you. And then countersue and retire. Ray said, he's not just a liar, but he's a pathological with the shit. Why, you expose yourself, you bum, LOL. Mental health, but he's playing COD, shut the F up. Well, he said he was playing Red Dead. Red Dead's a pretty chill game. I feel like the excuse is warranted. The bullshit that he fed his friend was just silly and stupid. The problem, see, I guess here's where the big problem comes into play. He claims it was mental health, but if you really feel strongly, in my opinion, of it being mental health, he would have had no problem being like, hey man, listen, I'm wrecked. I need time off. I'm not going to do anything this weekend. I mentally, I'm not going to be able to enjoy myself at the party. I'm really sorry. It's just, it's beyond me. If you can't say that, then you are lying to yourself about it being for mental health as well. It's not going to help your mental health lying to your friends. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. It sounded like he just didn't want to do anything. I'm sorry, Red Dead, it's understandable. I feel like Red Dead, I understand what you were saying. Call of Duty's high stress. Red Dead's super chill. I don't know. I don't think that there's any excuse to like lie to your friend. If you claim that they're that good of a friend, they should be more than understanding. It sounds like you were lying to your friend and to yourself. I don't know. And then you gotta avert blame to your dad. Oh, I gotta help my dad fix his roof. It's my dad's fault. Yeah, be an adult. I don't know. You're not gonna help your mental health by lying. But that is it. Man, Pump has been just on a tear. Uh-oh. Are we rugging? No? Okay, we're good. We're good. This thing's been an absolute monster. All right, Philly wanted to check out top 20. Billy, I'm gonna promise you a better, more hands-on approach to this. Right now, I'm gonna rattle off yes or no. Yes being this, I think this will be around in 5 years. No, meaning I think this is gonna drop out of the top 20 within the next 5 years. Bitcoin, obviously, yes. ETH, obviously, yes. And I'll elaborate for anything that I think justifies elaboration. Binance, yes, for sure. XRP, I'm going to say yes. I don't know if it's going to be in the top 10, but I do think it's going to be in the top 20. It's maintained this position for this long already. I think the community is super duper diehard, but I don't know if they have enough money to offset Ripple's selling, because Ripple owns a significant amount of XRP, so they kind of use it as their personal bank account. It is what it is. Yes, I can camp on Red Dead and just chill. That is true. Red Dead is super chill, dude. It's actually a ton of fun. I gotta get back into it. Solana, yes, and the main reasoning for Solana is actually one of the things that we went over today in the news segment. Their volume is still increasing. Let me see. On X, where was it? Because it was kind of a surprising out of nowhere metric as well. Gosh, they used the most unflattering pictures of Michael Burry. I kind of feel bad for the guy. Is that it? No, Bitcoin sellers, XRP whales, short-term Bitcoin. Where is it? Where is it? Right there. Solana daily transactions hit a record 171.9 million on August 10th, excluding validator votes. This is why I think Solana will for sure be around top 10, top 20. Can I notate them down for later? I'm only going to note down the no's. And unfortunately, I am going to use this slightly clean Bitcoin chart. But I'm going to go back a little bit. No, I'm going to put it right here. And right here. Where? There we go. No's. Okay, so far we're all yeses. Tron. I'm going to say no for Tron. You guys know I have strong feelings about Tron. Strong. Whoops. Justin Sun Prison. I think he's going to get in trouble. I think Justin Sun is going to get in trouble for facilitating terrorism via Tron. And I think majority of Tron's volume is Iran. I'm 1000% tinfoil hat speculating on that one. I might just be a blind hater. I think Justin Sun's a scumbag. Hype? Hype is a hard one. Because it's so new, you know? Is Hype... I'm gonna take a wild guess. We're talking 5 years. So 2031, I'm gonna say no on Hype. I think this was a overhyped trade, and it's going to be regulated out of the top 20. Oh, shit. There we go. Okay, they kept it. Thank you. Okay. That's what I think. I'm actually gonna make this a little smaller, abbreviate, regulated out of top 20. Total speculation. That one, I don't know, I'm kind of, 5 years? I'm kind of confident in that one. Dogecoin, yes, I think Doge is the people's meme. I think it's going to be around for a long time. Zcash and Monero. See, this one's a little bit harder because they've had solid momentum growth. And I think there's always going to be a market for privacy. I'm going to say no for Zcash, yes for Monero. I'm going to say no for Zcash. Regulated. Oh, I'm going to say regulated out. And replaced by Monero. Because I think Monero is the better option. I think Zcash is too new. They had that weird thing where an AI might have just minted like a ridiculously large quantity and they still don't know how to figure out if that's true or not. Like, if it's privacy, how do you even know how many are circulating? Cardano. See, I'm going to be a pessimist about ADA. I think the bubble popped with ADA, man. Is it going to be top 20? It's fallen so far already. I don't want to answer this one. I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna abstain from Cardano. There's too many biases, too many variables. Chainlink, I think Chainlink's gonna stick around. I think Chainlink's required. I think Chainlink is gonna be the webbing that connects the blockchain. Stellar, I feel like Stellar goes through hype cycles. Stellar, Bitcoin Cash, World Liberty, Athena. What is that? A stupid stablecoin. I'm gonna go with no on Stellar and a no on World Liberty. I'm not saying yes for Bitcoin Cash. I'm going to abstain from that one as well because I feel like that's quite an anomaly. I'm going to say no for Stellar and no for World Liberty. XLM and then WLFI. Trump, no longer president in 5 years. Lost hype. XLM, hype cycles, and will drop out of top 20. Yeah, these are my reasonings for my no's. Got 5 of them. I've abstained from Cardano. No for Zcash. Oh, wow. I just think Monero is the better option. Zcash had that issue with the AI, and the developer of Zcash pretty much came out and was like, well, we are unable to tell if this AI actually managed to mint pretty much an unlimited amount of Zcash. We've fixed the problem since then, but we don't know if they've minted and there are circulating Zcash that were just fabricated out of nowhere. Which, it sounds like they're just kind of bullshitting their way with AI through developing. Ray said, I'll be here looking like a fool or something genius, but I'm not either. I have common sense. Philly said, where did ADA drop down to? It's number 14, I think, right now. Maybe even lower. Yeah, it's number 14 right now. And where was the highest out of top 20? Highest, I believe it's been number 3. It was right below ETH at one point. Ray said, my plans are Bitcoin with Bitcoin Cash and BSV together. Chainlink leads my alts. Very nice. So yeah, this is it. Philly, screenshot this if you want. Eventually, I'm not going to keep you here for long. I'll probably delete it within the next week or so if I remember. I have too much stuff on the charts, and I'm sure I'll be able to remember my opinions. If I don't, then clearly they weren't strong. But guys, let's check our poll results, and then we're going to call it an evening. I asked you guys, with the Anthropic IPO in October, what do you think it's going to do for Bitcoin and crypto? 49% of you guys said no idea / probably a nothing burger. 38% said definitely going to cause more dump. 13% said upside, super cycle, in fact, 4-year cycle. And nobody said more chop, taking money away. We got a total of 8 votes. Appreciate you guys for participating. Guys, as always, Ray said, if you don't own BSV and BCH along with Bitcoin, it may be a mistake. I don't know. As always, when the market starts to do anything crazy or anything at all, I will hop back on. Otherwise, I will see you all tomorrow. Don't forget to smash the like button on your way out. Happy Tuesday, and good night.